Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ormie and we're back here today playing some Out of the Park Baseball 22. Brand new game, brand new version, the latest iteration in the season, out now, available on Steam, or you can head over to Out the Park Development's website and check things out there. Very decent. Dived in. I've played in the last 3 days. I've probably played close to 35, 40 hours of this game. That should give you an idea of how much I'm kind of getting into this at an early stage. Now, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, and I'm not the most knowledgeable person about the sport. But I know enough to get started, and I know over the years I've been dipping my toes in, I've been learning how Out of the Park Baseball works in comparison to those other games that I've played in the past. It does work a little differently. It's not a Football Manager type player development. It doesn't work the same as Franchise Hockey Manager, and East Side Hockey, different, and so on, so forth. Got its own system, and it's taking some time for me to understand that. Now, if you've been here a while, thank you, but you will know that I play a certain way. I build through youth, I try and build through a draft, I try and really get that team very young, and coming into their prime together so that we can string together championships. I'm not here to build one team to win 1 year and then have to rebuild. And that's the way American sports tend to work. Dynasties are hard. It's tough to win consistently in American sports. And a lot of the games are set up that way. There's a few things in this game that kind of inflate that difficulty past what I was expecting, which I do appreciate, because a lot of the other games I do play, I'm good enough to win often and early. It does take a little bit, just a little bit of that sort of joy out of the game. So, that being said, let me just sort of get my brain in a position to sort of think about this game a little bit and give you an honest evaluation and reaction. See what we've come up with. Like I say, about 35, 40 hours of gameplay. Only in one save, rebuilding my favorite team, which is the Colorado Rockies. Some trades in real life upset me. I mean, Arenado left is not really the same kind of team that we had before. This is just a brand new game with nothing really set up, so I can just take a look at all the different bits. But yeah, from my point of view of that save and how it's all come together, it's interesting. It is interesting. Marquez is still there. That is good. Story Blackmon. John Gray is decent. McMahon I really like. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who used to be decent and aren't here anymore. So, oh boy, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Brendan Rodgers is there. Desi's still there, but it's probably at the end of his career. So it is a real rebuild, as you can see here, just purely on terms of how the game thinks this team is set up. There's not much room for improvement at all. Like, what you see is what you get, and what you see is not good. Okay? It's just not good. So from that point of view, you start thinking to yourself, okay, and there are some players, I'll give you that, there are some players you can build around. There's a decent little setup. Drew Romo is probably a catcher of the future. He looks like a really good player. One thing, though, that I have had to do, and this is where I have to separate Out of the Park from other sports management sims, because a lot of them use star ratings, and I understand the star rating system. Franchise Hockey Manager, you can get away with lower starage than in games like Football Manager, for example, but I understand how it all comes together and how it works. In this, I don't, at times. At this, I don't. And some of these issues with all these other ratings, I'm still kind of learning what I value, game values, how exactly I can balance between a contact hitter or a home run hitter, or what positions I can kind of skimp on, which ones I've really got to go out and sign the stars in. It's a learning curve, for certain. If you know baseball, you're going to know a lot more than I do. It ain't hard. But I am learning. I'm putting together spreadsheets and I'm working it out, and I correctly predicted in the other save through 2 different drafts, the top 20 in each draft. I correctly predicted in the first one, I think it was 13 of the top 20, which, okay, a lot of them were kind of no-brainers, but I think I did okay. In the second draft, I predicted 18 of the top 20. And that was not using potential. So, I'm getting there. And I think that helps me sort of feel more comfortable with the game. But you need to get to a place where you can get more comfortable. So for me, it was setting up all the different ratings in a different way. If we dive into game settings, you can change so much here. But just in game settings, and just in this section here, you can kind of put together the game to appear how you want it to. So, personally, I like to move away from the star rating for overall potential. Simply because it makes me think of those other games. And it puts me in the headspace of those other games. And I will not have success in Out of the Park Baseball if I'm thinking in terms of Football Manager, Franchise Hockey Manager, or anything else where the stars are used. I like to go over the max because I like to get a better view of things. The other rating scales, I mean, it depends really what we want to do. But normally, I like playing either 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is really nice and simple. 2 to 8, and completely get away from things. So, you know, it's interesting. Really interesting. But if you just do this, and we head back out, boom, the players have changed. The players are now changed. Now you can see Drew Romo is a 3-player with potential to be a 5-player in all of his batting ratings, 6 in gap power. Also, if you go into the team here somewhere, not sure where, is it just info ballpark? Aha. If you go into ballpark, you can see what your ballpark's like, and it looks like we're a park that a lot of triples are hit. 1 is your average. Hit slightly more in other things, but triples we're quite good at. So you're not looking for home run power as much as gap power. Both are going to be good. You're going to score runs by not hitting it over the fence because there's a place that they can hit triples. Doubles is pretty good. The home runs aren't very bad either, aren't too bad either. So really, you know, it's a hitter's ballpark, and triples are the main thing. Doubles, triples, that's where you're going to get a lot of success. So, if we return to this and we see gap power, hey, Drew Romo will be a decent old hitter for us. That's good. Catching rating's pretty good. His ability's good there. You can see that's how well he knows the position. That's how good he has the skills for the position. And then his arm is how much he can throw it, how good he can throw it. Not a great runner. There's a lot of room to develop. He's going to be much better than he currently is, and I can see that. I've got to think that that isn't just here. It's going to be here. Don't think if we go into his ratings, yeah, he can't play pitcher at all, so that's fine. He's definitely a catcher. And we've got an idea now of what we can do. And also, you see all these ratings have changed. And I get a better idea. Now I'm thinking out of the park because I've made it look different to Football Manager, Franchise Hockey Manager. all those other games that use a star system and do things certain way. I love the fact that you're able to customize this to suit your needs, which no other game does that I know of. And I've played a lot of these games. I've played Greyhounds Management. I've played Horse Racing Stables Management Simulator. I've played soccer, football. I've played NFL, American football. I've played 3 different ice hockey. I've played wrestling simulators. I've played boxing, MMA simulators. Like, nearly every major sport. Cycling, handball. I've played a lot. These are my games. This is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. This is what I find relaxing. None of them offers this level of customization at all. It's unbelievable what this game allows you to do. I think it's just really impressive to me. And I know this is a game that's been going through different iterations throughout the years, and might not be a big team. Out of the Park Developments is not a major game studio. It's a handful of people that love baseball, that want to create the best games they can. And they put together Franchise Hockey Manager, another game I absolutely adore. And I'm a big fan of ice hockey. So, I tend to play that a lot more. But I'm really starting to fall in love with the Park Baseball. I'm really starting to appreciate the work that they've put in to this title over the years. And where they've got it, and this level of customization. And again, we jump back into the settings, and this just makes it look the way I want it to look. And like I say, not many games offer you anything like that. And nobody offers you this. You want to do different bits of scouting and change the scouting accuracies, make it more difficult or more easier to see, like we can go 100% accurate, and boom, those high 70 players we had, they're not there. Drew Romo apparently is a 55. I'll try not to let that influence my decision making. But we go back down to normal scouting accuracy, and again, look, I think Doyle was up to a 75. Fernandez plummeted off. And Drew Romo's 65 went down to a 55. So we know they're being overvalued in places right here. Again, that just makes it that much more difficult with the Rockies to succeed. But I've been able to do these things and just mess with some stuff, figure out how I like the game to play, figure out how I like the game to look, and it really does level off that learning curve. Got face gen, it's got a bunch of different stuff. You can enable or disable injuries and suspensions and the player personalities. You can put that together. The team chemistry system, you can just turn that off. That killed me. I'm not going to lie. Season 3 with my Rocky save, that killed me. That really did kill me. You can change all the developments. You want the batters to be great early and the pitchers to get good late, or vice versa, or, talent change randomness. How much do you want them to change? Do you want them to stay the same player? Stay the same player, but putting it down to a 1. Want everybody to change a lot. We'll put it up to 200. Baseline, there's as well. You can disable development, and the players are just going to stay the level they are. It's really up to you. It's really up to you how you want this game to play. And how you want this game to look. AI settings. Difficult trades, easy trades. Do teams want to trade more for veteran presence, or do they want to get more youngsters in? The ratings weight. So when a scout looks at a player and how the AI evaluates players, they're going to look at the ratings of the players. The stats that they have. How good of a batter, hitter, etc. How much room they've got to develop. 65% of their values are going to be on the ratings. 20% is how well they're playing this year. 10% of their evaluation is based on what they did last year, and 5% of that is 2 years ago. And you can recalculate GM tendencies based on these weights, so when you change these, you can basically make all the game logic just completely change. You want to go sabermetric instead of traditional? Hey, that's up to you too. And there's a lot of these terms like sabermetric, That's up to you if you want to go and look those up. I'm not going to explain the ones I know or say which ones I really don't. But yeah, baseball is an interesting sport where it's so heavily stats based and analytical and mathematical formula on one side, and the other side's pure gut. The other side is what looks like a good baseball player, who feels like a good baseball player. He hits the ball really well in college, he should be a big ball player. Versus, well, he hits, he's batting 307 and gets on base 400. I mean, he's a really good hitter. But if he doesn't look like, if his swing looks a little goofy, maybe the other camp doesn't like him, and yeah. There's a lot of different things. So it's a weird sport, kind of get your head around. The Almanac I don't play with. I don't do online stuff, but there is an online league. You can set up your own leagues. And in fact, that's a huge part of this game and player base. There's a database, all the different stuff. When I'm recording this. And then leagues. Oh my god, there's so much here you can do. And set up fantasy drafts, set up different things, and expand the league, and that's another thing. I believe it's in options. Evolution of the league. Again, this is not new to you if you're a fan of this series, if you played this series before, but the league evolves, so it can expand on its own. It can change how many players you're allowed, whether or not the pitchers hit or you have a designated hitter. Whether there's more or less pitching. Whether teams can relocate and join, go and relocate in a new city and become, my Colorado Rockies could become the Albuquerque Rockies. Or the New York Rockies. The 40-man roster size. That's at 40. But, yeah, that's kind of your big league squad. You're only allowed 26 players in that first team at any one time. Normally it's 5 pitchers, 7 relievers, a closer, and then enough outfielders and infielders and catchers to kind of fill out the rest. It does take some getting used to for me when I'm not really thinking in that way, but again, it's part of that learning curve, and it's not a steep learning curve. Not that steep. Free agent minimum service, I think they've got to play like 5 years or something, and that can change. Be more or less before they can go to free agency. The nickname might change. The Colorado Rockies might become the Colorado Astronauts. I don't know. Injury length. Or IL. Injury? I think there's something else here. Maybe. I think that's injury list length. I think that's either a 10-day or a 30-day or a 60-day designation, depending on the injury. So if someone's out for a week and you put them on a 60-day injury list, you don't have to pay their wages for the 60 days. I think they don't count. I don't know. But as well as that, you're not allowed to call them back up until that 60 days are done, even if they're back on day 4. So, but those lengths can maybe change, more or less offense, more or less pitching. That's just kind of what the league goes towards. I believe it's pitch heavy. It used to be hit heavy, now it's pitch heavy. So that's kind of where we are. Whether you want to vote for Hall of Fame, whether you want to turn the Hall of Fame off, how do you want to do it? Want to change what they need to get into the Hall of Fames? There's so much to customize. This is just like these settings. So you go into this one here from league settings. You can go into your team settings here, and be able to change what you want anyway. Modify pretty much anything. You can go look at the ballpark as well in Google Earth if you've got that set up. Then you've got your human options here, your manager options. Yeah, the game's going to autoplay a lot. as in you're going to click continue, or you're going to click to go to a certain time of the year, unless you're playing every game, but that's a lot of games every year. I don't really do that. But you can say when you want to come out of games. It gives you little drop downs to figure out where you are, what you're doing. You can hand off as much control or as little control as you wish to the computer. I tend to give them, all I really give them, I keep hold of everything apart from the minor league sort of promotion, demotions, strategy, lineups, depth charts, pitching staffs. That basically means that whoever I've got in the minor league, whatever staff members I've got down there, they will choose how they play and whether players get promoted up or down throughout that system. But I retain the active roster moves, which means I choose who comes up into the big, into the MLB, into the show, or who gets sent down, who gets put on injury reserve, and who gets called back in. So I decide all that, all the transactions, trades, drafts, budgets, any signings or hiring, firings of staff members, everything like that is me. And then I choose my manager, and I would throw the pitching staff and lineup depth chart. So I put the team together. They play the team because I am a GM. I'm not a manager. I am a general manager, which means I assemble the roster and do all of that work, but I don't actually oversee the game as it's played out on the field. So mine would probably look a lot like that. Top two, bottom two, as a computer, let them do it, and it'll have different names here. It'll have the names of the staff if you're at a team, which we're not right now. So, again, the level of customization to set up this game to play how you want to play it is phenomenal. And I had to dive into that first, because that is special. Commission mode is kind of like cheat on the fly mode and edit on the fly mode. It's, you can make any trade go through, you can do anything you want. Enable it, play around, do stuff, have fun. But I think even without that enabled, you've seen how much you can change the game itself, but without cheating. But commissioner mode, for example, I'm not going to go into the Rockies because I know those. And I don't want to know too much about them. But I'm going to go down to a player that's got no potential in a team I don't know. And now we can go into the editor because we've got, I believe this is only available because we're in commissioner mode. But again, you can change anything about this player. They've got a bunch of personality things which are coming for team chemistry and whether or not they handle pressure very well. This kid doesn't seem to be too much I like about him. Injuries, I mean, it's not just one thing if he's injury prone or not. It's location based, which I think they do really well, better than a lot of other games. Contract stuff, lots of details, lots of different things. If you're like me, you're probably gonna come into the screen and just see kind of how the game works behind the scenes. See if you're missing anything that it's not showing you up front that you maybe have to guess at, or you can work out through different things. And you're probably going to be, Googling some of this and looking in the manual just to figure out exactly what this stuff is. The batting stats, ratings here. This kid doesn't look like a good batter. Got some stats here. Roughly what he'd hit over a season, I guess. Looks like a good runner. Looks like he's a decent player there. Not a pitcher. So, like, low speed pitch. Not good at pitching. No good pitches. No good movement and control. But looks like a good infielder. So, solid infielder. Not a great batter. Not bad, actually, to be fair. Not too bad. But he's a good base runner. So, if he gets on base, which he might not, but decent enough infielder. His rating here, and you could check. Let's see if he's a center. 50 because this is already at 150. Right? I can see. There we go. I need to stop using those keys. Those are my hotkeys. Yeah, I look at 150. And because he's got good infielder ratings, his pitching ratings are good, which means pitching uses these four. Which is interesting, because, you know, I haven't really looked at that before. But yeah, we can dive into that. You can see a lot of stuff, and as you can see, like a team like Washington are so much better than the Avalanche right now. They also have like some good talent down there. So there's a difference. But you can see all your lineups, everything like that. It gives you everything you need. It really does give you everything you need. And get some owner goals. It looks like we need to, if we were in charge of Washington, we'd need to extend our star pitcher, Max Scherzer. He's on $35 million a year. He's going to be a free agent this year at the end of this season. He's nearly 37. I would say like a 1-year deal would be enough, but 80 is the highest and 8 is the highest. And you can see exactly where he lines up. So, now his pitch isn't that fast. It's 96. It's decent, but it isn't amazing. And the WAR score, I can see here, that's wins above replacement. So against the league average player, he wins 4.6 more games in 2012. Last season, it's only 1.7. It's not good compared to the rest. But you'd probably want to go and try and like talk to him. We can't because we're not a member of the Nationals. But I think somewhere, can't we just go in and take over or act as, haha. Yeah, temporary control. Again, just even temporary control. This is crazy. The fact that I could do this. We can go back to Max Scherzer, and now we're acting as if we're in charge of Washington. He can go off up, and I would go down to 1 year. And he says it's reasonable. He wants his 40 million, but he's not fussed after that. We can come back and talk to him next year. We're not locked in for the future. We could probably come and offer him maybe 35 to 30, and maybe he'll say yes. It depends what he's looking for. You can see a budget breakdown. That's your budget for this year. That's your payroll for next year, basically. He's already paid through this year, so this is next year. But you got your budget, you got your payroll, you got your expenses. That's what's left over. And then basically lets you know exactly how much you have after that. Yeah, we could do that, and then again, you go back to your owner goals, and there will be an extension, and you have succeeded at this goal, which you needed to do this year. You're also supposed to win the championship. This is a very good team. And then a long term is build a championship team. But I think if you win the championship, that might solve itself. So, who knows? Who knows? Ted Lerner's 95 and in charge of this. There's your accounting breakdowns, salary breakdowns, scouting slider, set your budget, figure that out, player development, how much money you want to spend to develop your players. There's your big league staff, and then here's your minor league staff. It takes a while to get into that mindset of doing things. But you can see here there's some interesting bits. Okay, so already you asked the computer to set up the roles, and you got legendary good, legendary good. But we can see, if we go Bogart, then I can pull that up to excellent. But really, Randy Noah isn't a very good coach because he's not doing anything. So if we looked for an infielder coach instead of Randy Noah, someone here that has infield defense quite good, that could be an improvement there. And then that staff roles, this is for developing players. We get these as good as we can. We get some youngsters we develop. That's the way I like to play things. You can see player relationships. The amount that's in this game. Here's the players going to free agency or arbitration. See here. Brad Hand is another one that wants some money. Castro wants money. I have set up these filters to show anyone that basically hasn't got low work ethic or intelligence or low potential. I take those off, and again, you can see a lot of stuff. And I've built this screen. I've built this view, personality, pictures, batters, to give me as much information, again, as I need. And all that does set up to the point where I get the game looking the way I want it to look. And I get to be able to play that game the way I want to play it. Really that simple. That's the beauty of this game. I think it plays really quickly. I think it looks better. There's a slight sort of, you can see the graphical changes here, the little highlights and rounded effects. Everything looks pretty good. The layout's pretty good. Your shortlist. If you just hover over these, if you're looking for anything in particular, you can look over these. When there's a league event, it'll be at the top here in red. You can have 4 or 5 between salary arbitration, signing draft players, international free agents, and something else I've had up there at the same time. I can't remember now what it is, but they're all up there. You can look at the draft. You can look at what offers you've done and how they're seen. We can just look at free agents. Throughout the league, just free agents. And then just start picking up. All these people are young with potential. Of course, they're already hidden all the low work ethic and intelligence ones. In fact, these are all 40 and above. So I would say, for me, I wouldn't probably go for any of these. 28-45, he might be a starter. Then all these players, 116 offer minor league contracts. I've now got 115 offers on the table to all these players. Look at this. And they're all minor league, which means we don't pay them. They're in the system. A lot of these won't want to be minor league players, and we can like pick it up in the future and see kind of where it comes, but it goes through its like beginning of save calculations with everything as it is. Here we go. We've already got our first sort of bit of feedback, but again, go into transactions, go into pending offers. Now we can see so many of these people favor our offer. We've got a few pendings, but yeah, there's so much there. There's so much there. I just love that. The player trading, that's kind of interesting. And just try and figure out where you'd be, how you'd be able to do things. You can trade prospects for prospects and make work now, but they like Zamora. They don't like Mendez, which means you're going to have to give up a good player. But it would any of these would immediately allow you to do it. And your general manager or your assistant GM will tell you yes or no as well. A little bit of breakdown here about what would happen financially, etc. And also, one of my favorite things, shop players around. I would like to see who I can get from Moreno at any level. I'm going to shop players around, and the game is going to evaluate basically the needs and the surpluses of other teams. Come back to me with offers. It's just going to list a load of players, step by team. I go through them, I pick which one I like, and I can start a deal based off that. It's a really intuitive, fun system. So Moreno is a 20-35. He doesn't look amazing. Now, if we dive into the editor and see, he's going to be a good hitter, he's going to be a good runner, and he's a pretty good left field. He's rated quite highly at left field. Got some good stats. So, he's a decent all-round player. But it looks like we've got a few players here, because they're older, that might be interesting. You look at Escobar, and again, immediately see that he's the worst runner, he's a little bit of a better batter, and he's an okay infielder. So, you might not get what you see here with the players. But also, how much of this is potential? All potential. That's what he's actually playing like. That's what he's hitting like. That's what he could hit like. Now, again, if you haven't got Commissioner mode off, you're not going to get that detail. But I want to show you that just so you know, like, roughly, that there's a lot more behind the scenes. It is depicted here in that he's not a great hitter, but he could be a good hitter. That's not bad. Won't hit a lot of home runs probably ever, but a good gap power hitter. A very good left fielder. It does represent what you see in the editor. Say setting up the bars this way and the numbers this way just gives me a little bit of hope in getting my brain round it. Ottavino is a very good closer. If I wanted to improve the team now, I could bring in an Ottavino or Moreno, who I don't think we miss. I don't think he's amazing. Corey Nebel, not great control, but very good elsewhere. Call him in. They would do a deal based around that. We could get a shortstop in. Andrelton Simmons, who is a great Glove Award winner. Not 4 years in a row. He took 2 years off. He got a 13-14, missed 15-16, but 17 and 18 he's had it. So not 19-20 either. But Simba would be a good pickup. He's a very, very good, very good defensive player. And his batting, he doesn't get struck out, cares a strike, so he avoids the strikes. He does swing a little bit, his hand-eye coordination, his discipline at the plate, whether or not he just swings at stuff, isn't that great. He doesn't have a lot of home run power, but decent gap power and good contact. When he hits the ball, he does make good contact and follows through with good power. Not enough to get out of the park, but doubles, triples, gap power is there for that. He's pretty much the player he is. He can steal bases really well. Never really won too many games over a replacement, so that's something to be kind of skeptical about as well. But again, I love the fact that you can do this, offer it out, get all these offers of players. Evan White's a player I actually like a lot. No weaknesses in his batting, good eye discipline, good base running, not very quick, but good base running, which means that while he doesn't have a lot of speed to get to the bases, he doesn't run wide, he doesn't, do anything stupid, he knows when to go, when to stay. That's a little bit more in the base running side of things. And he's an excellent defensive first baseman. Doesn't have a great arm, can't turn double plays. His range and errors are good enough. He doesn't commit that many errors. His range is decent. He's defensive. He's a solid hitter. As a backup infielder, I think Evan White's fantastic. And he can get better. 8 years left at 1.3, which means at 32 years of age, he's going to be still paid 1.3 million. That's the kind of deal I think makes a lot of sense. I trade away a player who is in the rookie league. I don't think he's ever going to make it fantastic. Yeah, he's got gap power of a 6. But I look at Evan. His discipline's at a 6. So we still keep our 6. Everything else is better. Like, how's that not a deal you do? And then you can also go looking for more. Still mulling over. I can get myself a very promising closer in this deal. And look here, 2020. I like him. He's got good pictures of the future. This is all I do. 26 and looks okay. I'm not going to miss Ben Bramer. Where is he? Add him in. We agree to your terms. Tough call, swing back and forth. That means it's probably fair enough. But we add in a good player for a long term. We add in another relieving weapon. We give up a relieving weapon I don't think is as good. And a future prospect I don't think is as good. We get better now and the future. And then, forced trade's only there because of commissioner mode. But complete trade. And bang, deal is done. We now have a new player. If we look at the designated for assignment players, these two need to be called up to a major, a at least be put onto the 40 and then be put onto team. Josh Bell. Josh Bell's really good. Zimmerman's 36. Probably not going to want to get demoted. Does refuse to get demoted, but I don't care. I'm going to release him. And then call up Evan White instead of him. Stevenson is a solid hitter. Not home run, but solid all round. Like we said, that's quite decent. Got Soto, Bobo Robles. Oh, we got Yardi up there as well, who's very solid and more of a home run hitter. Yeah, all I'm going to say there is we're going to put him on Triple A. Got to go through rosters, but that's got to go through waivers to make them. Yeah, this is all here. We'll see if anyone claims him. They probably will. We could probably create room. If I'm honest, we could create room here with somebody like Perez. So I can shop Perez around. I can say I only want prospects because I only want a minor league contract. I don't want a major league contract. I got to pay, and it's got to go on the 40. I just want a young player. Wilson, tons of potential. Tons of potential on a minor league contract. That's fine. We're on board with that. Espinal also wanted to give up. Bro looks okay, but not amazing. Probably do that. Try not to trade the young players. Theo, 33 minor leaguer, and they'll be happy to put him into the deal. I'm willing to do 100%. So I get a decent looking relief pitcher that's 24 on a minor league deal, room to improve. I get another closing option with tons of potential, 24 minor league contract. I give up Hernan Perez, who I don't think I'm going to miss. And Castillo, who I'm definitely not going to miss. I complete that trade. And again, if you go back to the waiver screen, no Stevenson. 25 out of 26. We removed him. It'll tell you what to do, but it said drop to the lower part of the screen. Go from waiver. So we put him on the big league roster. He's sitting there. We can probably convert him. I'm actually going to convert Yandel to a left field now. There we go. So we got a little bit more cover, but Stevenson's up there. He looks really decent. And I think we've just improved our team. To be perfectly honest, I think we've really improved our team. I'm delighted with that. Looks like all 26 of our roster are on here with Will Harris, who's currently got an injury for a while. So he's going to be on the injured list. You can see here he's on the list for 14 more days, but he's actually out for 5 weeks. So there's the difference between when you can call him up and when he's actually fit to call up. Interesting that the 40-man isn't filled. It normally fills throughout the season. Really does normally fill throughout the season. Yeah, you can kind of just see the quality of this game and how it plays and why I'm a big fan. Spoiler alert. This is a very positive review. Looks good. It plays well. It teaches you quite well. The information online, both on the forums, third-party websites, via the manual. Like, it's all fantastic. The customization is amazing. And it really does suck me into the game and draw me deep within the game. And I see hours go past. Like I say, 3 days, about 35, 40 hours. It's been a wild ride. And yeah, I mean, okay, in my game, we haven't done amazingly in in some places. That's a learning curve. Mainly this team chemistry, which went all the way down. There was feuding. Some players hated the manager. Some people hated losing. But yeah, you can see a lot about the game just on this screen as well. The relationships your manager has with the players. It's quite good on a bunch of players. No bad relationships. That's perfect. Everyone's okay right now. We'll see how that develops over the game. But we got a couple of captains. Both of them at catcher. Both old. Then we got leaders in Leicester and Mercer. Both, again, very old kind of players. But hey, veteran leadership is a thing in baseball. And it is a thing in out-the-park baseball. Don't just build a team of 21-year-olds. It very rarely works, and the team will rebel against you, as I have found out myself. Not many sports teams, not many sports games and franchise games, sports management games, punish you that way. This one will, because that's not the way teams build. Practicers keeping things like Josh Harrison, another old guy. Trey Turner, a very good player. Selfish player, Steven Strasburg. Again, I would go through and just say, hey, he's selfish. He's probably greedy more than anything. That's fine. He's like an amazing pitcher. As is a guy who you can really count on. Nobody offers anything for him. How much money is he on? 35. You only got so many shop attempts. So we can't trade him. And he's got another 4 years on his deal. 35 million. And he's got no trade status. Been in the league long enough. Yeah. That would be a shame. The fact that you couldn't move him, because he doesn't seem to be the best player in terms of locker room morale. Like I say, there's ways and means to change that. You can go all the way to the draft if you want to set things up. All these are about contracts we've offered. And there you go. A lot of those contracts have been signed. And now this is what I really wanted to show you to round out a little bit here. Osuna wants more money. Thompson wants money. The rest seem to be okay. But if you look at Thompson, I think he's just going to still want a minor league deal. No, he doesn't. Actually wants a major league deal. Sometimes they'll ask for more money, but they'll still just want that minor league deal. Yeah, I would set that up, and now he favors the offer. Osuna doesn't want money. He is a very decent pitcher. So, yeah, probably a closer. He wants to be a closer. Currently a relief pitcher. I do like. I've had him before. Yeah, when we get hold of him, we'll be able to change. Or if we've got commissioner mode on anyway, we can just go call him a. Now a closer. So yeah, customization, gameplay, replayability, processing speed, quality of life, the look of the game, the depth, the help, the ongoing challenge, having to balance staff morale and player morale. There's so much to this game. There's not much it does that I don't like. There really isn't much I don't like about this. You can play around the world as well. You can play, in Cuba, Mexico, I believe, other places. There's a bunch of European leagues, like France, Holland, Italy, Spain, I believe. You can go over to Japan and Korea, China, Australia. I think I'm missing Germany, Czech Republic. I think I'm missing a couple. But anyway, there's a lot that you can go and do. Like I say, the way this all gets set up and just sort of trying to figure out this staff cohesion, this player cohesion, all these different roles, balancing contrast, getting a good winning team on the field, and just making sure that the owner is kept happy. That's it's an in-depth game, and it's off-putting and it's scary to look at for some people, but believe me, don't take much. Feel comfortable. When you start feeling comfortable, and as I say, making it look the way you want it to look, I feel is a big part of that. I think that's a massive part of that. And when you do that, it's that much easier. When it's that much easier, it's that much more fun. This is a heck of a game. This is an absolute heck of a game. I wonder if we take a 10. It'll take a 3-year. And believe me, 3 years at 13 for Soto, phenomenal. Because he is phenomenal. He's one of the best players in the league. And should be for the foreseeable future. He's only 22. He's already a superstar. A home run king. Like, yeah. Going to be a beast. You'd offer him that contract. Then I can step out the shoes and I can jump back in. Switch between different managers. Can do online stuff, and again you can set that up with commissioner mode and just put an online mode together, and then just add different managers and manage as them and process their moves in like a play-by-mail-esque type of thing. It's phenomenal. Just phenomenal. The amount of work that's gone into this. They've gone out and got the licenses. They do a great job without the Park Baseball. They've done a good job with Franchise Hockey Manager. I'm excited to see the new version of that towards the tail end of this year. I'm sad they couldn't get the NFL game up and over the line, because that would have really been massive. That would have really been massive. So that's a shame, but it is available now. Available on Steam, as I say. I believe it's $39.99, or you can buy it and Franchise Hockey Manager 7 together in a bundle, and save yourself, I think, 10%. Or you can go and pre-order it. Go and check it out on the list. It's available now. It's been out for a few days, about a week coming up. It's also got a good perfect team mode, which, if we jump back out to the star screen, quickly round out on that. See here, the perfect team. You can log in, unpack cards, play games, gain coins, trade cards. It's a fantastic mode that I don't really play much. I'm sort of sucked into this area, but hey, historical games. Play as any game throughout history. Select your season. They'll tell you a little bit about it and what it's all there for. The baseball boom. 1961. Roger Maris, 61 home runs in 61 to beat Babe Ruth's home run record. What I used to do is just sort of step back into history. Now I'm enjoying playing, modern day. You can play Perfect Team. It's fantastic. Do yourself a favor, go out and check it out now. Go on the website, jump into the forums, take a look around, see what you think. Go and put it on your wish list in Steam. $39.99. Good game, well worth the money. You're going to have hundreds of hours on Out of the Park. And, such a good time. Wish you all the best with it. Thank you very much for stopping by, as always. If you haven't already subscribed, please do consider doing so. Leave your comments and thoughts in the section below. Let me know what you think about this game and what you want to see more of on the channel. Till then, till I see you again, Take care, stay safe, behave yourselves. And I wish you all the best chasing for that perfect team.